Yo, I want to talk about Magic the Gathering's various collectible card frames and treatments, and one that I'm a particular fan of. I said in this video that if a card had too many different styles and alt arts, then recognising it quickly during gameplay becomes much harder to do. And while I didn't say it there, I believe this can become a bit of an issue as either players have to actually read each and every card to know what it does, slowing down gameplay greatly, or, as has been more likely in my experience, it all just starts to bleed together for players so they just don't even bother trying to remember what their opponent's cards do and only focus on their own decks, leading to less interactive games. I think that maybe explains why some people get upset during Commander if you play removal against them, because they've developed an expectation that they don't need to know what all of the cards on the tables are as the game isn't that interactive. But I don't know, maybe that's something I'll explore more in another video, so if that's something that you want, let me know in the comments below. Oh, and like and subscribe while you're down there. It only takes a second and it helps me out, so if you watch regularly, do it. I also said in that video that this whole issue could be avoided while still allowing for chase special versions of cards if it's the frame that changes and not the artwork, with these Ikoria cards being the example I used. But having said that, I am actually a big fan of Magic's various showcase cards. I think some of them work really well. I'll admit I'm not a fan of Art Deco, but I understand and appreciate why new Capennas would look like that. I like Innistrad's Fang frames, not exactly gothic, but I think they work. However, someone explained to me why Innistrad's non-vampire showcase cards are Harvest themed? Doesn't exactly feel on brand to me for the horror plane. Is it just because Halloween? Is it really that shallow? But ultimately, aside from a few minor nitpicks, I actually really like most showcase frames. Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's Investigation case file showcase cards, Ixalan's cool I don't even know what the hell theme showcase cards, and of course, Theros' Constellation Nyx theme showcase cards, which are all gorgeous. And I bring all of this up because even though I do think the game would be better if all the chase collectible versions of cards kept to the same art, thus being easier to remember during gameplay, I'm actually saying I can still appreciate cards when that isn't the case. And I acknowledge that like with these Dominaria stained glass cards, sometimes keeping the same art wouldn't be an option for the aesthetic they're trying to achieve. Although I suppose having said that, they did manage to make it work for those War of the Spark Planeswalkers, which yes, are stained glass versions of the original art, so... And if we did it my way, we'd avoid the visual assault and the unreadable messes like we've seen from some alt arts in recent years. Anyway, Tarkir. It released, like 2 months ago at this point? So apparently its time in the limelight is well and truly over. If you watched this video of mine from around that time, where we opened up half of a Japanese collector booster box, I said these white text on black background borderless clan cards had a lore-informed aesthetic that I really think is neat. And then, I like looking at these cards. And that has remained to be true. Even if yes, they don't use the same art across all versions and I really don't see a reason why they couldn't. But, I still like them. However, since uploading that, I have made a wild discovery. And now that Tarkir's time in the spotlight has come to an end, it's something I want to talk about and highlight as we look back fondly on the set. Quick disclaimer, what I found is nothing major and this video isn't all that serious, it's just sort of funny. Like it makes me want to look at Watsy and say, hey bud, are you alright? Everything okay over there? Because here's the rub. There are 50 of these borderless clan showcase cards, which would make sense, right? 5 clans, so obviously 10 cards each. Except, Temur gets 10 cards, okay. Mardu gets 10 cards, makes sense. Abzan only gets 9 cards? Huh? Jeskai also only gets 9 cards, excuse me? And Shoutout gets 12. What the hell, Shoutout? Learn to share. And I just can't imagine why this is the case. This is such an obvious thing not to do that it's kind of fascinating to me that they've done it. Aren't all clans equal in Watsy's eyes? Is Shoutout the best while Abzan and Jeskai are the loser clans whose cards aren't deserving of this treatment? And looking at the examples Dr. Hands opened from those Japanese collector boosters, the numbers kind of line up, with Abzan and Jeskai only getting a single card each, and Shoutout on the right clearly getting the most of any clan. So I know I said in that previous video that when it comes to opening the last 6 packs from the collector booster box I might do a Commander scramble, but now that I've seen this, I kind of want to focus on that instead. I'll quickly take this opportunity to once again thank Xatu Games for sending these packs out to me. They're a UK retailer but they ship international and they sell everything from Magic product to board games, roleplay games and Lego. They don't tell me to say this, I don't work for them or have any kind of agreement with them, but they're kind enough to send me Magic product for free, so it would feel wrong of me to not shout them out. Yes, they're a business, the fact I do is probably the reason they keep sending me stuff, but regardless, link to their website below if you're interested. I shop there myself, and I wouldn't even mention them if that wasn't true. Oh, and actually, on that note, hey, I'm an independent artist, please come check me out on Patreon because I could use the support. But more importantly, generative AI is being used to replace more and more people like myself in more and more industries. So if you're a business or professional, even if you're only on Kickstarter currently and you've used generative AI in the creation of your product, please be aware that I am not going to feature that product on my channel even if you send it to me for free, which I'm getting a lot of lately. I intend on holding WotC to their word that they won't use generative AI in Magic, and part of holding them to that involves me not promoting its use on this channel either. And hey, I get it, you're a small and probably independent too, check out my Patreon. But if you want people like myself on your side, and you can't create the art for your product yourself, then hire actual artists, pay them a fair wage, ensure they don't use generative AI in their work either, and then contact me because then I'll be more likely to sing your praises. AI is a tool that can generate art, so yes, technically what do we need creatives like me for? But AI is also learning to generate games, so in that world, what do we need game developers like you for? AI is not good in general, but also it's coming for all of us, so the little guys like me and you should really be on the same team here. I appreciate your messages and offers and often the kind words that accompany them, but I will not feature products developed using generative AI on this channel, and I hope you can understand why. Right, as you can see, Dr. Hands has gathered the last 6 packs from that Japanese collector booster box, and I thought it would be fun as we look back on Tarkir to see if, as we open them, we can find more Abzan and Jeskai cards collectively than we can Sultai. Because as you may have gathered from everything I just said about AI, I always root for the underdogs and think they should stick together. So with that being said, let's begin with Pack 1. Now, as far as I understand, the Borderless Clan showcase cards can only appear in these 3 slots, and in this pack we actually have 2, these bottom 2. And that's because even though it may look like one, our spotlight card is Sarkhan Dragon Ascendant, which I believe is what's called a showcased Ghostfire frame. If we compare it to the Songcrafter Mage that we also opened in this pack, you can more easily see the difference. Sarkhan, for instance, doesn't have the 3-colour brushstroke motif, and while he does have the white rules text, he doesn't have the black background. Still, it's a gorgeous card though, and a rare pick as there are only 10 cards with the Ghostfire treatment in the set. Pack 2. Ooh, and we do have a clan card, in the foil this time, but our spotlight card is this Mox Jasper, which, believe it or not, is actually the first one that either I or Dr. Hands have opened. The cards with this treatment are called Draconic Showcase cards. There are 35 of them in the set and mostly used to depict dragons. But that makes sense as Mox Jasper's ability can only be activated if you control, you know, a dragon. Honestly, I'm thrilled to see this opened as this was kind of the iconic mythic rare artifact from the set, so I'm glad we finally got one. Pack 3. Again, we've opened another 2 clan cards, we'll tally them up at the end, but for now our spotlight card is actually the Foil Mountain. This treatment was part of the Dragon Eye lands, of which obviously there were 5 in total, and I must say again just how gorgeous these are too. They did do an additional one for Wastes, but that was only available as a promo from game stores in limited numbers and not in packs. These cards do raise an interesting question in terms of lore though. Does a Dragon's Eye make sense in terms of it being a land? In the strictest sense, no, perhaps they should be an artifact or an enchantment instead. But if you consider that lands, in Magic's lore terms, are just mana-generating aspects of a plane that you as the player have visited, it could be argued that maybe Tarkir's source of mana actually does generate from the dragons themselves, and so having the set's land cards be representative of that makes sense. Of course, I know that modern Magic's card representation have drifted from the lore, and so none of this headcanon is something they care about. But I think that's a shame, because I agree with the philosophy that constraints breed creativity. And frankly, Magic was better when it cared more about ensuring card mechanics had to work within narrative limitations. But that's just my hot take. Pack 4. Only the one Borderless Clan showcase card this time, so you know what? Let's make it our spotlight card. Eshki Dragonclaw of the Tima clan, and please forgive me if I get this wrong because I have such a hard time getting my head around Tarkir's timeline. Understandably so, I feel, but I believe descendant of Yasova Dragonclaw, former Tima Khan. And if we compare the art of that card to Eshki's non-showcase version, you'll be able to see that both are not just connected through name and clan, but also by their companionship with an animal too. This is further reflected in the mechanics as both cards care about creatures. Surak, another Dragonclaw, also references creatures in his rules text, though he famously killed his beast and wore its hide rather than befriend it. Eshki did start in a side story called Tima Together Survives the Pack, but I honestly think even just the cards alone have done a pretty good job of conveying a narrative. I'm a fan. Pack 5. Another 2 Borderless Clan showcase cards, but our spotlight card will be Sage of the Skies. Because, and I know I said we'd tally up the count at the end, but I couldn't help myself from noticing, this is the first Jeskai card we've opened. It's the clear white, blue and red background that jumped out at me and made me take notice. We've only got one pack left to open, so if this is the first one, the chances of our Abzan Jeskai tag team beating the card-hoarding Sultai aren't looking good. Oh dear. Pack 6. And... what the hell? Dr. Hans, where are the Borderless Clan cards? Don't give me that, this is the last pack. I started by implying this whole thing would be a metaphor for small independent artists teaming up against AI. Oh god, okay, fine. Our spotlight card is Beetle Ancestor's Voice, I guess. Because, I suppose, if you look at the set symbol, you can see it's actually one of the 10 commander cards that were also in packs. So, it makes it a rare one, and that's something at least. Okay, let's check it out. Dr. Hans, can you line up all of the Borderless Clan showcase cards that we just opened, please? Thank you, and only one Jeskai card as I mentioned. 0 Abzan cards, which is not what we wanted if we were rooting for the underdog. But at the very least, also 0 Sultai cards. So maybe that changes things? Dr. Hans, can you please total these up with the cards we previously opened for final numbers, please? Thank you very much, and as we can see, Abzan remained only the 1 card, that didn't change. Now we have a total of 2 Jeskai cards, okay. But compared to both of those, Cardhog Sultai still has a total of 4 cards, meaning, in the competition of Team Abzan Jeskai versus Team Sultai for the most cards, the winner is... Mardu, which has 7 cards in total, the same number as all 3 of those other clans combined. Unless you discount one of the 2 copies Sultai had of that Naga Fleshcrafter, which was a double, in which case Mardu actually beats them in terms of having more singleton cards. So I guess the moral here is, well, we've opened 6 packs and, what was the topic of this video again? This one may have gotten away from me a little bit. I really should not have made this an analogy for the use of AI. Oh, I know. Give Innistrad's non-vampire showcase cards a new frame. The Harvest theme barely made sense in Midnight Hunt and it doesn't work the rest of the time or for the rest of the sets at all. Why is it on Grimgrin? Someone explain it to me. And that was what this video was about all along. A perfectly reasonable point to make, made perfectly. I'm sure you'll agree. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you to everyone that supports me, like Eggboy the particle that permeates all existence, Wanpako Jozu, Miss Murder, a random Patreon, and the rest of my patrons whose names are on screen now. I'd also like to thank the sponsor for this video, me and my Patreon page, where you can get your name credited on screen too. Check it out in the link in the description below. Hit the like button, leave a comment, install a nice comment, install an ad block, most importantly subscribe and share this video with a friend. Hit the notification bell and do all those things the algorithm loves. If you agree or disagree with any of my points, if I've made any, or you want to see me do a video on another subject, let me know and I will see you next time. I'm very sorry. I don't know what cards are going to get opened as we go into it. It seems ridiculous to me that I didn't consider that Mardu could win out. Some particular highlights being murders at Karlov's Manors. Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file frame showcase cards. Fuck me. Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file frame Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file frame showcase cards. Christ. Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file frame showcase. Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file frames showcase cards. Maybe just get rid of the word frames. Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file showcase frames. Fuck. Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file showcase. Fuck. Some particular highlights being Murders at Karlov Manor's investigation case file showcase cards.